7th, 2024 at 7 p.m. In attendance, Trustee Esperson.
Here.
Trustee Brockler.
Here.
Trustee Syracuse.
Here.
Trustee Twitchell.
Here.
Trustee Wandell.
Here.
Please stand. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Make sure your mics are turned on, please. We want to remind people that the board is not required to permit members of the public to speak at a public board meeting. The Open Meetings Law of New York State does not require boards to allow members of the public to speak in such meetings. A board meeting is not a meeting of the public, but rather a meeting of the board held in public, so that those in attendance can observe the board discussing and transacting business. The village has been served with an Article 78 petition to void the adoption of the board's decision to proceed with a plan for the village's water plant and future water source. The petition is also seeking an injunction against the villages regarding its plan to pursue a proposed interconnection and decommission of the water plant. The village has been advised by council not to comment on the pending litigation other than to refer to public statements issued by the village. Therefore, no statements regarding the matter in litigation will be made at tonight's meeting. To that end, I ask for a motion to remove public comment from tonight's board meeting, or an alternative to limit public comment to items listed on the meeting agenda for tonight's meeting. Do we have a motion?
I'd like to limit it to the resolutions that are on tonight's meeting.
Do we have a second?
Okay, motion.
Due to the pending litigation, one of the items on the agenda has to do with the water decision. So we're opening up that conversation. Due to the pending litigation, I make a motion to remove public comment from tonight's agenda.
I'll second that.
Nobody acted on motion.
Nobody seconded my motion then?
We have a motion on the table already.
There's a motion on the table.
Trustee Twitchell. Do we have a motion on Trustee Twitchell's motion? Second motion.
Second
I'm sorry.
motion.
Second on the motion. No. Do we have a second on Trustee Esperson's motion?
Yes,
Excuse me.
I'll second Trustee Esperson's motion.
Okay, let's take a vote. Trustee Wandell.
Aye.
Trustee Twitchell.
Nay.
Trustee Syracuse.
Aye.
Trustee Brockler.
Aye.
Trustee Esperson.
Aye.
So moved. Correspondence.
Correspondence dated January 31st, 2024 was received from Mayor Michael Ferguson recommending the reappointment of Larry Barter and Michaeline Comerford to the Fredonia Village Zoning Board for a 5-year term.
Be it resolved that the reappointment of Larry Barter, Pine Drive, and Michaelina Comerford, Water Street, to the Fredonia Zoning Board for a 5-year term, which shall expire in February 2029, are hereby approved.
Trustee Esperson.
Wait, he has
I'm
to
sorry.
second it.
Second it? Second. Okay, Trustee Esperson.
Aye.
Trustee Brockler.
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse.
Aye.
Trustee Twitchell.
Aye.
Trustee Wandell.
Aye.
So moved.
Correspondence dated February 1st, 2024 was received from Mayor Michael Ferguson recommending the reappointment of Phyllis Jones as chairperson for the Fredonia Zoning Board for a 5-year term.
Yeah, read that.
Second.
Go ahead, Paul.
Be it resolved that the reappointment of Phyllis Jones, Leverett Street, as chairperson for the Fredonia Zoning Board for a 5-year term, which shall expire in Feb of 2029, is hereby approved.
Second.
Trustee Brockler.
Aye.
Trustee Twitchell.
Aye.
Trustee Wandell.
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse.
Aye.
Trustee Esperson.
Aye.
So moved.
Mayor, your microphone is off.
There you go. How's that, all right?
Much better, thank you.
Okay, my wife said I got a big mouth. I really don't need a microphone, but well, I appreciate you letting me know. Mayor's report, we want to report on a couple of different things. Number one, our next meeting is going to be moved because the 19th is President's Day, which means the public offices will be closed. So we'll be moving it to Tuesday, the 20th. And we will have our special hearing on the proposed water increase at 6:30 that night, with the regular board meeting to resume again at 7 o'clock. We also want to just talk about very briefly the fact that we had an insurance company here this week. To update you, there was some significant damage to the DPW roof and the judge's chambers here during the last storm. So it is in the hands of the insurance company now, and we hope to have a repair on that. Since our last meeting, on January 23rd, Trustee Brockler and I were invited by members of the IDA to join a team of officials from the Ralph Wilson Foundation to get an updated tour of the construction being done on the White Inn. The public's going to be thoroughly pleased with the project upon completion, and I'm glad to say that Steve St. George's team has restored the banquet meeting area to the hotel. A new elevator is being installed, as well as a second outdoor patio for dining, and we all look forward to the grand opening of that wonderful hotel. On the 24th, Trustee Esperson and I opened renegotiation on the sewer treatment contract with the towns of Pomfret, Portland, and the town of Dunkirk. More information was needed by both parties, so negotiations will continue later this month. County Executive P.J. Wendell held his monthly mayor and supervisor meeting via Zoom on January 24th, which I also attended. And on January 25th, I held my second meeting with the mayor event in our chambers. January 26th, we attended Governor Kathy Hochul's budget presentation at the University of Buffalo. Several additional meetings were scheduled this month because of that visit. January 27th, Trustee Esperson and I attended the Club Association dinner held at the Overseas VFW Post in Silver Creek, where we supported both our Beaver Club as well as our American Legion. On the 31st, we held our village workshop and was also invited to take part in the SUNY Chairman's meeting at SUNY Fredonia. During that meeting, we agreed to work with the college on student internships in local government, as well as letting our area businesses know that the college also has opportunities for students to intern in many other businesses and departments throughout the village. February 1st, attended the meeting of the IDA Mayors and Supervisors Group, and on February 2nd, took members of the village board and the planning board on tours of both the Fredonia and Dunkirk water treatment plants. Later that evening, I attended the ribbon cutting of our area's newest restaurant, Topos, which will officially open in about a week and a half. February 3rd, we attended the annual Fredonia State Blue Devils Pink the Rink event held at Steele Hall. We presented a proclamation naming the evening Anne Marie Johnson Day, that included all of the cancer warriors and their families in attendance to join in the proclamation, making it day special for all families, and the Blue Devils won the game 5-1 that night. February 4th through 6th, Trustees Twitchell, Brockler, Wendell, Esperson, and myself attended this year's NICOM event, the New York Conference of Mayors and Municipal Officials, where I was able to speak before a couple of New York senators. With Trustee Twitchell was in the room as well to encourage support for SUNY Fredonia, the importance of releasing the $70 million due to the hospital project, and the importance of both those projects to the stability and future of our community. Also on the 6th, we were able to attend a reception for invited guests to Governor Hochul's mansion for a discussion on topic of affordable housing, as well as welcoming all the current and new government officials. Finally, this morning, I attended a meeting of the restructured Fredonia Dunkirk Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors that was held at JCC North Complex. 11 a.m. this morning, we paid host to the Safe Streets Committee, hosted by legislator Susan Parker, along with trustees Syracuse and Wandell, Police Chief Price, along with other local government officials. They presented some exciting crosswalk and downtown improvements to be taken under consideration in the Water Street area of the village. And coming up this week, we have a meeting scheduled with members of the governor's office to continue discussion on the water project, the FSU Career Day development, and a tour of the community with a number of potential business developers, which we hope we've got some new information on in the near future. We'll go now to the trustee and committee reports. Trustee Twitchell.
Yes, well, I did attend NICOM, and I attended the open meeting law, and I have informed our clerk that regularly we have to have our meeting minutes posted and I reminded her of that today. And also, I reminded the mayor today about reasons to go into executive session, so we can be following that legally. And I did attend the cannabis meeting at NICOM, and it still seems to be a real problem with the state figuring this all out. And for us to approve anyone at this time, I might suggest that we would have a local law about the cannabis, from the Cannabis Committee, so the trustees can pass a local law as to where these buildings can be located, because from what I understand, somebody did buy a building and they weren't able to open one up because of the distance from the school and the park. And also there was another gentleman that wanted to open up a cannabis shop. He wanted to rent a building, and that was the same reason. So I think people could use some guidance when it comes to opening up a cannabis shop in Fredonia, and I'd like to talk more about that later. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Wendell.
Thank you. I was also attended the NICOM conference, great learning experience. Very glad I went. I'd like to report on last week in January. I had 3 meetings that week. I'm on the Zoning and Code Enforcement Committee, and we, actually Trustee Twitchell and myself, interfaced with our Code Enforcement Officer, and we discussed the primary point of that discussion was our local vending law that we are trying to get resolved and finalized. As I understand, it's back on the planning board's court. Is that right?
That's right. They will be reviewing that.
Okay. So we're actively working on that. Second is I'm appointed to the Finance and Insurance Committee along with Trustee Brockler. We met with our village treasurer and we discussed what our responsibilities are. So we're getting on board with that action. And finally, I met with our DPW supervisor, Mr. Scott Marsh, and I am on that committee for DPW along with Trustee Esperson. Points of discussion there were what his project needs are, and he's got several of them that are outlined for this current year. I can outline those if you want, but just to say that we did have a lengthy discussion about what his needs are.
Thank you. Trustee Syracuse.
The only thing I have to report is the Safe Streets meeting that we held today. It's nice to kind of get that group back together right on the edge of construction season beginning, kind of get some updates on what Main Street, where we're going there, and speak with the county about some projects that they have in mind. Yes, we'll have more to come for you guys, but it's very exciting stuff.
Trustee Brockler.
I attended the meeting with Mr. Wendell and the treasurer, and that was very enlightening. Just to get a sense of where we need to go with the finance committee, and I got a chance at NICOM to meet a representative of our new insurance company, which was very interesting. I think we're going to save a little bit with the new insurance. NICOM was fascinating. I attended a lot of sessions on getting grants for different projects, and I did attend a session about lead service lines connecting to our water mains, and that's going to be getting a lot of both federal and state attention in the near future, and we're going to be needing to find a way to remove those lead service lines, and it sounds like they really want that done in the next decade. So that's going to be a major push that we're going to have to do. I know we have an inventory which must be completed by October of this year and submitted to the state and then up to the EPA. So that was very interesting. I did enjoy the tour of the water treatment plants, quite enlightening. That's all I have for now.
Thank you. If I remember correctly, they're talking about replacing at least 10% of the village per year on the lead water, and those would be the pipes that go from the street to your house if they have lead content into them. So we'll update you as we get more. Trustee Esperson.
Yeah, just to kind of piggyback on what Trustee Twitchell was talking about at the cannabis conference, it became very apparent that the state is way over their skis Their regulations are continually being updated. Their staff, they've got about 10% of the staff they need. There are thousands of licenses that haven't been even looked at yet. So it's going to be a long slog. The one cannabis shop, or the one building that was purchased, I think that you were referring to,
Yes.
you know, they were ready to go forward, but they have no faith in the state, so they pulled out from that project. That's what happened there. I had a meeting with the fire chief and the police chief just to address some concerns they had. We had a meeting with Abella last week and the county and our attorneys to discuss the next steps moving forward in the proposed decision that we had made. And I had to say that there were some questions about when I indicated what our cost of water was, that it couldn't possibly be that high. So I asked our treasurer, who unfortunately is not here tonight, to break down what that cost was. I reported that the total cost of water was $8.81, and I was told that can't be possible. So here is the breakdown, if anybody cares. General government support costs 53 cents per thousand. Administration is 21 cents a thousand. Distribution is $1.50 per thousand. Debt service is 92 cents per thousand. Fringe benefits are $1.46 per thousand. Purification is $2.93 per thousand. Capital $1.27 per thousand, which adds up to $8.81. That is our cost of producing 1,000 gallons of water. There was a commentary in the paper this past week stating that I failed to include $1.2 million of costs when discussing the cost of producing water and cost of purchasing water from Dunkirk Canal. Well, it didn't say what those other costs were. I'm assuming they were associated with the production and distribution cost. And I have to point out, if we do decommission the treatment plant, the majority of those costs are either eliminated or greatly reduced. We also need to keep in mind the additional cost that will be incurred to continually upgrade and maintain the treatment plant if we don't decommission it. Labella projected the cost for a 100-year-old building located 2 feet from a steep embankment into the creek of about 100 feet to be $10,788,500, which is it's not a one-time fee. It's not a one-time cost. To prevent the village from being in this position again, every 10 to 20 years, millions would be required to upgrade and repair that plant. The life expectancy for a plant is less than 50 years. As I said, ours is 100 years old. Is this a legacy we want to leave to our children, that they're going to have to continually upgrade a plant 2 feet? That is what we have. 2 feet, we're trying to. 2 feet from the cliff. And someone said, well, just build another one. And we have to keep in mind that Dunkirk spent $25 million to improve an existing plant. If we're starting from scratch, it's going to cost a whole hell of a lot more than $25 million. And that's all I've got.
Do we have, excuse me, do we have treasurer's report tonight?
No.
Okay, additional reports. As you know, we have moved the department heads' reports to the workshops, which are in the morning, but our rec department works full-time as a teacher during that time. So I do know that there's a report for the rec department, if you'd like to go ahead and give that.
Sure. We're on our 5th and final week for youth basketball. So big thanks to JV and varsity basketball teams for running that, Nick Bertrando for organizing that. I am taking reservations for Russell Joy via phone. My office hours are 3 to 5, Mondays and Fridays, posted on the website and on my door, and by appointments, so.
Thank you.
Frankie, have we worked on the lock situation?
We have, I think I have to meet with Mayor about that for the upcoming summer. We still have a meeting for that.
Okay.
Because there's 2 directions we could go, and I'm not sure which one yet.
As long as we take one.
Thank you. That season's fast approaching. Thank you for the report. There are no additional reports tonight. Resolutions.
Be it resolved that pursuant to section 5520 of Village Law, the following budget transfers are hereby approved. First, $6,800 from H830.2 floor resurfacing to H8330.2 filtration scatter meter. And the second one, $3,000 from H8330.2 filtration capital floor resurfacing to F8330.43 filtration travel training.
Do we have a second?
Oh, I second it.
Trustee Esperson?
Aye.
Trustee Brockler?
Aye.
Trustee Twitchell?
I would like to say I did speak to Lewis about this, and he said this is a new scatter meter, and it will, and we'll see how this will remove large-scale turbidity, which helps us to determine how to adjust and continue to make safe drinking water. So I want to applaud Lewis for making this decision in updating our drinking water here in the village, and I'll vote aye on that.
Thank you for your update. Trustee Syracuse? Did I say
Aye.
that? And Trustee Wandell?
Aye.
Thank you. Next.
Whereas the Village of Fredonia requires new portable radios for the fire department, whereas Freedom Communications Incorporated, Jamestown, New York, has supplied a quote for 3 XL200 portable radios, as well as the necessary vehicle and battery equipment for $14,885.22, whereas the portable radios are suitable for the village's needs. Therefore be it resolved, the village board hereby authorizes the purchase of the XL200 portable radios and accessories for $14,885.22 from Freedom Communications, Inc.
Trustee Wandell?
I second that.
Trustee Twitchell?
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse?
Aye.
Trustee Esperson?
Aye.
Trustee Brockler?
Aye.
Approved.
Trustee Wandell did not vote. He
Trustee
seconded.
Wandell?
Aye.
Okay, I'm sorry, I thought I heard it. My fault.
Whereas the Village of Fredonia requires a scatter meter to measure NTUs in the raw water for the water treatment plant, and whereas Hack Company, Loveland, Colorado, has supplied a quote for a surface scatter sensor assembly in the amount of $6,516.46. And whereas the scatter meter is suitable for the village's needs and will allow for monitoring and adjustments of the NTUs in the raw water, therefore be it resolved, the village board hereby authorizes the purchase of the surface scatter sensor assembly for $6,516.46 from Hack Company.
I'll second that.
Trustee Wandell?
Aye.
Trustee Twitchell?
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse?
Aye.
Trustee Brockler?
Aye.
Trustee Esperson?
Aye. Whereas pursuant to Section 20 of the Municipal Home Rule Law of the State of New York, a public hearing must be held on the adoption of proposed local law 1 of 2024, a local law amending Section 287-2A of the Code of the Village of Fredonia to provide a change in water rates. Notice of such public hearing published in the official newspaper, The Observer. Now therefore be resolved that the Village Board of Trustees of the Village of Fredonia hereby schedules a public hearing on the 20th day of February 2024 at 6:30 p.m. in the Trustees Room, second floor, Village Hall, 911 Church Street, Fredonia, New York, to receive comments on the proposed local laws. Be it further resolved that the village clerk is hereby directed to publish notice of said hearing pursuant to village law. Local law number 1 of 2024. This local law shall be entitled Local Law Amending Section 287-8A of the Code of the Village of Fredonia to provide for an increased water rate. Be it enacted by the Board of Trustees of the Village of Fredonia as follows. Section 1, Section 287-8A of the Code of the Village of Fredonia, last amended on June 1st, 2023, by Local Law Number 3 of 2023, is hereby amended to read as follows. Section 287-8A, rates for metered water service within the Village of Fredonia. A, for water supplied by the Village of Fredonia from and after February 19th, 2024, and for each quarterly period thereafter, the following rates are hereby fixed and shall be collected on all water metered service within the Village of Fredonia at a rate of $6.95 per 1,000 gallons. Note, water rates to the village or to the town of Pomfret, town of Dunkirk water districts, or other outside of village water customers shall be increased accordingly as provided by the contracts with the Village of Fredonia and such outside water customer. Section 2. This local law shall take effect immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State of the State of New York as required by law.
Second.
Trustee Brockler?
Aye.
Trustee Esperson?
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse?
Aye.
Trustee Twitchell?
Before I vote aye, I did want to explain to everyone, I had a senior citizen call me and ask me She said she uses 4,000 gallons per quarter, and I told her this would amount to $8 her bill would go up by. So I just want people to be aware of that, and I'll vote aye on that.
Thank you. Trustee Wendell.
Aye.
Also, if you need a copy of this particular law, there are copies of the agendas up here as well.
Be it resolved, the following agreements are hereby approved for the 2024 Summer Band Concert scheduled to be held in the gazebo from 6:30 PM to 8:30 PM in Barker Commons. July 10th, 2024, 80s Night with That's My Hair Band, $800. July 17th, 2024, Alley Cat, $600. July 24th, 2024, Midnight Recovery Band, $600. July 31st, 2024, Country Night with Hazard Country, $800. August 7th, 2024, Jess and the Mess, $600. August 14th, 2024, 70s Disco Night with Sequins, $600. August 21st, 2024, Party McFly, $700. Be it further resolved that the amount to be spent for the band budget is $4,700 and that the amount to be spent for Southern Tier Promotion Sound 7 concerts is $1,750 for a total entertainment budget of $6,450, and be further resolved and that the mayor is hereby authorized to sign said agreement on behalf of the Village of Fredonia.
And second,
Second.
Trustee Wendell.
The only thing I'd like to comment on that is, I had communicated with Frankie, and we had discussed the opportunity for looking for other players in the sound production for our music series, and also even adding to it with our music schedule. So I think we're going to have a continued discussion in that way, but at this time, we'll just go with it as it is. So aye.
Trustee Twitchell.
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse.
Recusing?
Trustee Brockler.
Aye.
Trustee Esperson.
Aye.
Good so.
Whereas during the storm of January 9th, 2024, and then again on January 11th, 2024, the Village of Fredonia DPW's roof sustained damage from high winds. And whereas during the storm, large pieces of the roof came down and damaged the vehicle of Kent Christopher, employee at the DPW. Whereas Comerford's Collision for New York has provided a quote for the repairs to Christopher's vehicle in the amount of $2,544.50. Therefore, be it resolved, the village board hereby authorizes the repairs to Kent Christopher's vehicle to be completed at Comerford's Collision for $2,544.50.
And second,
I second that.
Trustee Twitchell.
Aye.
Trustee Wendell.
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse.
Aye.
Trustee Brockler.
Aye.
Trustee Esperson.
Aye.
Whereas during the storm on January 9th, 2024, and then again on January 11th, 2024, the Village of Fredonia's DPW's roof sustained damage from high winds. And whereas during this storm, large pieces of the roof came down and damaged the vehicle of Kent Christopher, employee at the DPW. And whereas Enterprise Rent-A-Car, Dunkirk, New York, will provide a rental car during the repairs of Christopher's vehicle in the amount of up to $450. Therefore, be it resolved that the village board hereby authorizes the vehicle rental to Kent Christopher's during this time his vehicle is being repaired by Enterprise for up to $450.
I'll second that.
Trustee Wendell.
Aye.
Trustee Twitchell.
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse.
Aye.
Trustee Brockler.
Aye.
Trustee Esperson.
Aye. Whereas the Village of Fredonia was selected as a recipient of the New York State Main Street grant in the amount of $230,000. Whereas a request for proposal was issued and due on January 12th, 2024 for grant administration services. Whereas Labella PLLC, Rochester, New York, has offered a proposal in the amount of $14,475 to administer the New York State grant. Therefore, be it resolved, the Village Board hereby authorizes Labella PLLC to be awarded the grant administrator position for the New York Main Street grant in the amount of $14,475.
Second.
Trustee Wendell.
Aye.
Trustee Twitchell.
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse.
Aye.
Trustee Esperson.
Aye.
Trustee Brockler.
Aye.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, with Public Officers Law S-105 for the executive session.
Oh, hold on, we have a walk-on.
There's a,
You have a walk-on?
We have a
Okay.
walk-on.
I'm sorry, I didn't have that here. Go ahead.
Whereas the Village of
I did have it, my fault.
Sorry. Whereas the Village of Fredonia voted on December 26, 2023, to create and implement a plan that would permanently interconnect the village water systems to those of the city of Dunkirk, which would include the decommissioning of the village water treatment plant and drawdown of the reservoir. And whereas the village's engineer of record, Labella Associates, has the professional expertise to provide environmental compliance work as required under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, seeker, and grant preparation services for water infrastructure improvement via State Revolving Fund, SRF, funding opportunities for the village, and whereas such professional services permit the village to forego competitive bidding requirements set forth in General Municipal Law, Section 103, and whereas the village desires to encourage Labella to perform the environmental compliance work and grant preparation services in accordance with the proposal dated January 30th, 2024. Now therefore be it resolved, the village hereby approves the environmental compliance work and grant preparation services to be performed by the village's engineer of record, Labella Associates, at a cost not to exceed $13,500 in accordance with the proposal dated January 30th, 2024.
Second.
Trustee Brockler.
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse.
Aye.
Trustee Twitchell.
This is the first time I've heard about this, so I'm not going to vote right now on this.
Okay. Trustee Wandell.
Aye.
Trustee Esperson.
Aye.
Okay. Once again, Public Officers Law S-105 for executive sessions states that personal private information of a person, corporation, or matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, or dismissal or removal of a person or corporation requires us to go into executive session. Can I have a motion to enter into executive session to discuss matters leading to the potential removal of a particular village employee with the board, department head, and council?
So moved.
So moved. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
We need a
The
second.
We need to.
second.
Second.
Okay. We need to vote.
Thank you, ladies and, it's a, you know,
We need to vote.
sometime between now and the next 6 months. Let's go ahead. Trustee Esperson.
Aye.
Trustee Brockler.
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse.
Aye.
Trustee Wandell.
Aye.
Trustee Twitchell.
Aye.
Promise we'll get this done, ladies and gentlemen. The next meeting of the village workshop will take place on Wednesday, February 14th, Valentine's Day, at 9 a.m. And I'll be marrying my daughter that day as well, later on in the afternoon, in the trustees' room, second floor, Village Hall. The next village board meeting will take place Tuesday, February 20th, at 7 o'clock in the trustee room, second floor, Village Hall. We have a motion to dismiss, please, and go into executive session.
Well,
already
we're
did that.
already going into executive session.
We're good to go.
In your resolution,
And we're ready, Josh.
for the law that we're going
All
to
right.
discuss, it says you'll receive comments on February 20th. Can we
Yes.
hold you to that? You're going to receive comments on February 20th. We're not gonna come here and be shut out and not allowed to speak.
No, sir, you'll be open.
See you on the 20th.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going into executive session, and we'll be back for motion of dismissal afterwards. Thank you.
Receive comments on the 20th, that's what he said.
Yes, sir.
We don't wanna do it tonight, but we'll do it on the 20th, so we'll go back on.